Okay, welcome back to another episode of Media Moguls. And we have the new and improved host of Raw AF, Austin Linney. You're looking good, man. You're looking clear. You're sounding good.
Yeah.
I mean, the background looks almost good enough to be like, not real. Like, I like it.
It is real. I mean, I'm real.
I think you might have shaved. You probably got some eyeliner on there. Like, you
No.
just really topped it up since the last time we've seen you.
You know what, dude? I raised my coaching prices, so I got to bring it all up. I got to bring it all up a level or two.
Right. I noticed that you've even got one extra button done up.
No, but you actually brought up an amazing topic right at the beginning. Somebody like you and Corey who love what they do so much and are so wrapped up in their business, like you can't stand holidays, right? it's affecting my workflow. And this is something that I was talking about all week on podcasts. I think we need to get to a place, especially men in society, women too, doesn't really matter, where we actually can say, no, I enjoy work. Work makes me a better this. And I think I'm all about chilling and lifestyle and working from the beach or working from this mountain because I do that. But I think we need to get to a place where we understand that it's okay. Like work fills me up and then I can be better in other parts of my life because I work. I think it's this push and pull in society that is very interesting because what y'all do is 24/7.
Right.
I remember some guy posted yesterday who buys a bunch of crypto. He said, did everybody else get their own Black Friday sale on Bitcoin? And it's just and I'm like checking it when I get up, am I going to get in? So it's I like to work. I have a full day today. Tomorrow I don't have a busy day, but I don't have big plans. I'm just gonna chill, maybe do a little work.
Well, you definitely bring truth to it. But Thanksgiving for me really is the worst holiday ever. And I'll tell you why. Because A, I'm based in Japan. So everyone's celebrating with me, right? And B, I'm Canadian. So we already had our Thanksgiving a month ago. It's not this November.
I have three coaching clients in Canada and they're like, okay, I'm good. Yeah.
So no, but it's good. I think you do raise an interesting point, but sometimes I'm a little bit nostalgic for, these holidays because I don't get to spend very much time with friends and family being over here. However, a morning or an afternoon or an evening is plenty of time for me because I like to have my own space and do my own thing, right? Especially as an ex-smoker, right? As an ex-smoker, I used to be able to escape. This is an interesting thing about smoking is you can escape, right? But when you can't escape, then I'm not really sure what happens because we never went through that yet, right?
Well, what's interesting, and I was thinking about it this week, right? Because we moved to this new place. We've been here since about end of July. And technically, I don't have any close friends here. We live in a remote, very expensive mountain town. There's some people that obviously have came to the hotel so that, and that will continue to happen. So we get to visit with people. But I was thinking to myself, I don't feel like I'm without because of podcasting, because of Zoom, because of business meetings. And so it's really interesting to see the way that it's changing where, you're in Japan and there might be some times where you wish you could just run out and go have a beer with somebody or, whatever. But it doesn't feel like maybe that's just my personality, but it doesn't feel like I'm disconnected from anybody, no matter where they are location wise these days.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that maybe we could spin off with, so I just got surprised with, somebody holding a tiger, a koala, a mouse, and a really hairy bear, and a pig penguin, apparently. So one of the things, sorry, life is a dad. One of the things that I kind of wanted to ask you about, and this has come up, in a couple of our conversations, is the difference between like introverts and extroverts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like I have friends who are very introverted, and I'm very extroverted. But I find like even me, like I can go too far in the other direction.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, like, you know, what your take on it is. Like, I think that like the best article I ever read on it was basically that like the major difference is that like introverts, like when they're stressed out, they need to, you know, have alone time. They need to like, you know, chill themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas extroverts, when they're stressed out, they need to go out there and they need to release in that like social environment. So, but I'm just kind of curious because I would imagine, I think that probably a lot of workaholics, my guess is that they're introverts and that they can focus better. And once their work is done, then they can deal with the rest of society. But I'm just guessing. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I could spend, you know, multiple hours on this conversation. It's very, you know, just super interesting. Like, so my girlfriend is an Aquarius and very spiritual. And if you don't know anything about Aquariuses, they don't like to be told what to do. And moreover, when they're ready for some alone time, they're ready for some alone time. Right. And so it's been really interesting. Like last night, the hotel's been really stressful the last couple of days, like just a couple of things, some leaks, some, you know, bigger issues that we've had to spend a bunch of money on. And we haven't slept really good because I've been working. And she was like, do you want to go sleep in one of the hotel rooms and I'll sleep in our bed? And I was like, and like the Sagittarius in me was like, what the fuck? But then I was like, oh, she just needs her like minute of sleep. And so we did. And I slept like $1 million last night. Right. And so, you know, I think that we need to kind of understand what people need and then give them the space because they need it, not what we need. And what I mean by that is when I'm ever in a spot where I don't feel like I'm doing anything or like I'm feel like I'm kind of like it's stuck in neutral, I'll go help people. Like I'll literally send out like text, like, how can I help you today? Who can I introduce you to? Do you have a problem I can fix? And for me, that fixes me. Now, to an introvert, that sounds like a fucking nightmare, right? But what's interesting is my business partner, he asked me if he could stay in the shadows. Like he loves to work. And the thought of going to an event like I go to where there's 1,000 people and I meet everybody, he's like, man, no, I'm good. But what he says is it also takes a ton of pressure off me because you go do what I don't like to do. And then he does what I don't like to do. And so my biggest wish for everybody is don't try to be somebody you're not and just lean into more of who you are, but maybe find a business partner or a partner in life that is the opposite of you. So you kind of balance each other out.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because like, I think this whole COVID thing and then like, you know, getting adapted to working online thing has actually started to switch me from being like overtly extroverted to like partially introverted, which is really interesting. Like I wouldn't say I'm needy, but like I like to be around people, right? And you know, last 2 or 3 days, you know, my daughter and my missus, they decided to spend some time, you know, it's short 45-minute drive away, you know, just over the border of the next city, but with the grandparents and cousins. And I came home and like I talked to my daughter, she's 2, on the phone for a couple minutes, you know, three minutes, whatever. And then I hung up the phone and I just worked. Like I did all the writing that I wanted to write. Like, you know, I didn't have to worry about talking too loud into the camera because there was nobody sleeping in the back room. And it was funny because like, that's maybe the first time in my life that I woke up in the morning and I was like, oh shit, there's nobody here. This is great. Like there is nobody here. I can sit down and I can write something. Like I can get some work done, right? You know what? It's really interesting because that's actually never been me before.
You know what I like to do? Like, and I can't do it. I really like to play music really loud, like really loud, like really loud, like almost to a point where like I kind of get lost in it for like 30 minutes. You can't do that.
What's your favorite? Like, what's your favorite music to play really loud? Dude, I've got a few. Dude, that will like blow people away.
I'm not about to get crazy, but like, dude, and this is about to sound really weird. Like, I love, like, I've always had this thing in my heart for like musicals and shit. Like I don't listen to that music, but like Footloose, like Huey Lewis and the News, like some old school, you know, like some old school rock. Like dude, I'm all over the place. It could be Adele and then like Macklemore, like back to back for me, you know. But what's interesting is it's funny, dude. It's so funny that you bring this up. You know what it is with stuff like that? It's transitions of a different part of ourselves. Now this is getting a little deeper, but you know, when I walk out of this office, I have to be ready to deal with the other things, the boyfriend and everything. So I already have this in my head 100%. So when we build our house, we're looking at land right now. So when we build our house, there's going to be 3 houses. Okay. And what I mean by that is there's a house, right? Is like, that's our house that we live in. There's a kitchen, like our kids are in there. Then there's a hangout house where there's a pool, people can stay over. And then there's my office and my gym, which are totally far away. And I decided that I'm going to put it up on a shipping container in the trees. So the trees kind of like come over and there's glass. So I can be like I'm outdoors, right? But that office is my place where I can go and I can rant. I can listen to music too loud. And the thing is that people aren't, this is the thing that keeps coming up this week, is that people are doing things that don't give them energy and they're being burnt out. But if the thing gives you energy or you feel good about it or who you're doing with it, like, you know what's interesting? I've talked to y'all many a times. Like many a times, we've had multiple conversations. The number one thing I've seen Corey light up, I'm talking like light up like a Christmas tree, was when he talked about the charity stuff.
Right, yeah.
And so like, of course it's easy to work and show up every day because he understands there's something that we've done. I just had a young kid who's 19 years old who has 3 businesses, who wants me to mentor him and was like, I'll give you part of my business like that. And he was like, what if we created like a college Shark Tank networking thing? And like, yeah, I've got this business over here, but like that makes me so pumped that like some 19-year-old kid doesn't think he has to like live in the system and he's going to just go build businesses. And he's like, well, should I do this and should I do that? I'm like, dude, you're 19, do whatever the fuck you want. Like start 7 businesses and fail at all of them and you'll be 90 times, you know. But like, we're not doing that. Like we're not turning the music up loud. We're not taking that time for ourselves. And I call it putting on the oxygen mask yourself. And like when your spouse and your kid come back, like, you know, Jimmy's going to be a better dad because he had that time to kind of like recharge himself. Right.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons that I'm able to do what I do actually here in this space. You know, I'm not sure how much of the backstory you know, and a lot of people know this, but you know, the Uplift came out of, you know, Corey's vision and Corey's idea, which came out of, you know, him reaching out to Blue, who is, you know, the founder of Legend and also, you know, Uplift Art, who I used to work with, like, you know, from like the dust of an idea to be able to put charity on the blockchain. And Corey interviewed me about, you know, what we were doing with Uplift Nation and trying to, you know, jumpstart this charity thing. And we had fun. So we did it again the next week and then again the next week. And then it became a thing. And then, you know, we poured it into doing it like every day. And my OCD got the better of me. And I was just like, this is hectic. We need to streamline this. We need to, you know, we need at least, you know, a topic that I can, you know, do. And, you know, it's funny because I'm really relaxed, but like, I'm very OCD in the sense that like when
you're relaxed and you're disciplined,
yeah. When I do something, like it needs to be like, it's funny because you know, Corey's a little bit opposite. Like so I think this is why we balance out really well together. Like he's really knowledgeable and you know, he's brilliant, but he's also a musician, right? And so like that side of him comes out as well. Whereas I'm like a writer. But the funny thing is like nobody rips apart my writing more than Corey because like he studied English, so it's kind of fun as well, right? But then usually when he's ripping apart my writing, he makes spelling mistakes doing it. So it's like it's like. It's very not quite to that extent.
Don't read my writing. Yeah, don't read my writing.
No, yeah. But it's like we have this really interesting balance, right? And I think it comes across in the show as well. But like, yeah, I think all of us, right? Like we're all here to basically try to make the world a better place, Blue included. And Corey said this multiple times, right? Like people will come into our Discord or people will come into our Telegram and like they'll give a shit about something, and it's like, you know, Corey, he has his way of dealing with it. I have my way of dealing with it. And Blue has his way of dealing with it. But like, I think all of us, it's funny because like we all feel different kinds of stress because of this. Because like you said, we're here. We want to like improve the community. We want to improve the world.
I actually don't think it's stress. I talk about this on a weekly basis. I think it's a burden of responsibility to make the world a better place. I think that's two different things. I think stress is meaning like, dude, I would give my right arm to just be a salesman sometimes, making fucking $500K a year, not giving a shit, not worried about what the boss is having, right. Like, you know, like, but that's not where I'm at. Like, let's be honest. Like I reflected on my numbers for the year. Like I could work 4 days a week or 4 days a month and be in 6 figures. Well, I'm supposed to be happy. Like that's supposed to, no. That doesn't leave a big enough legacy for me. So I've got to go create jobs, create impact. So that's the same way that when I talk to y'all, it's the same way I feel about how you feel about your community. Like we're going to make sure that the people that take the time to support us, we support them. And like, who doesn't want something better than that? Like, I don't need to sign up for this conversation every month, but I enjoy it. I leave better for it. And I have no idea where your and I's relationship will go, or me and Corey's, but I don't care.
Yeah, I really like that you show up here every month. By the way, I'm like, who's on the bill today? And it's like, oh, awesome, sweet. I don't have to do anything. So, no, I don't have to work. I don't have to understand anything. I don't have to worry about like using the wrong ticker or saying the wrong thing.
You know what's interesting? I haven't shared this with you personally, and I was going to share it with both of y'all today. I had more people reach out to me than I've ever had after my first show. And I was like, this is weird. I don't even know what I'm talking about. But what they what they said to me is there's so much noise out there in the space. Right. We trust you as a person. You might not know 100% what you're talking about, but we want to listen to what you have to say, and you're going to bring on people that know what they're talking about. And that's when I was like, and here's the deal. People that I would never suspect are following NFTs, cryptos, all this stuff. Like people that real estate investors like never spoke to me about it ever. And I had like 7, 8 people reach out to me the day of, and I'm like, all right, there's something here. Like they just want a clear channel to like digest this new space. You know, it's not new for y'all, but new for them, you know?
Yeah, and like I can sympathize with that because there is just so much noise out there. One of the nice things about doing this show actually is that like Corey and I, we can kind of get to filter the noise. Like, you know, we set out not to interview people, right? Like there was this guy who was spamming our channel the last few days, or maybe a week or so. It's like, you know, buy followers. You want followers? Buy followers. And it's like, it's funny because I can ban I can ban everyone and put them in a timeout, except for some reason it never lets me ban that comment. And I'm like, damn you, YouTube. But it's interesting because I'm like, my response is always like, no, I don't need followers. Like, I don't care if I have 10 or 100 or 1,000 people, as long as they're engaged and they're good people, right? Like, I don't need a million followers to do what I want to do, right? And like I'd rather have, but that's the thing, like we're all these people in the space are, you know, tagline this, tagline that, right? Like trying to you know, bait people into coming and watching so that they can up their profiles and up their numbers and up their subscriptions and get paid more. And it's just so much noise that I don't need, because a lot of it I find is just like shilling bags. And one of the best things about meeting Corey actually, and M Blue too, but the best thing about meeting Corey is like a lot of the stuff I thought I cared about when it came to blockchain, I still kind of do, but like it's on the back burner now. I still think about it. It's still part of the way that I look at the space. But right now we're building shit that's awesome, and that's all I'm focused on. Right? And I don't think that's a blockchain and crypto thing. I'm sure you have a similar.
You become a creator instead of a consumer.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people don't talk about this. Like the real estate space where I got my start and still kind of hang out 90% of the time. It's really hard to make your own way, right? Because you see these guys that, right, you know, are like, I have clients, right? I'm dead serious. I've got 2 clients that I think in the last 15 days, he's made like 180K, like from wholesaling. Right. And like, if I was younger, I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to go do that. But I can't stand any aspect of wholesaling. So I don't live there. But it's really easy to say, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go do that because that guy was successful here. It's so much harder to say, no, I'm just going to grow my audience organically. I'm going to learn the skills necessary to be more engaging. And then over time, that consistency is going to create. It's I was just listening to an interview before we got started about the author of Atomic Habits, and he said that the issue is that people are living off the position of it instead of the trajectory. And what he means by, like, yeah, your business, your bank account might not be where it wants to be, your health might not be where it be, but is it trending up? Well, if it's trending up, then you're headed in the right direction. Because if I base my whole life off of, well, I've been working out for 30 days and I don't see the difference, well, of course not. Like and so because I'm out to get 1% better every day, like, and then I just be me, then I'm not worried about how many followers I get. I'm not worried about how many views this got, because what happens is some guy brought this up to me. It's the second circle of impact. So I might be coaching my direct clients and they might be better for it, but then they go out and help other people too. And in this, okay, perfect example. I have a coaching client who took over my Airbnb business, and I'm going to oversee him as the CEO and manage it, right? Well, guess what? He found out yesterday he's having twins, right? And so, okay, now that's 3 kids, and he was already transitioning out of his job. Well, now now I look at that and go, okay, now family, this is my family. This guy's in business with me. We got to go make some money. We got to go scale the business so he can, his wife can be a mom. And that's why I care as a boss and co-owner with him so much more. It's not, I never said like, we need to go get this dollar. Well, it just so happens that we're starting an Airbnb fund and we're getting approved by the SEC. And like, this is like a big thing. And he's like, life's crazy that this comes on your plate. We find out we're going to start an Airbnb fund that's going to be huge. And then the next day I find out I'm going to have twins. I'm like, no, it's not a coincidence. It's that it's that it's happening because it's bigger.
It's funny because I looked at it exactly the same way as you. I think it's like, I had this plan that was like to, quit my job. Maybe like I wanted to quit my job, things were starting to go well with Uplift and Yoshi Drops and the other things that I was doing. I also work for a block producer. I have a daughter. She's kind of almost out of diaper. She's walking. It's like my parents just retired, so I'm going to take a year off. And I found out we were going to have another kid. And like I think when most people find out they're going to have another kid, they go the opposite route. It's like, oh damn, I can't quit my job now. Mm-hmm. I was like, hey, when can I quit my job? Because like COVID's over now, right? I don't get to be at home, even though as my kids grow up, right? Like now I've got even more reason to get out of where I am. Not that I dislike where I am, but like to get out of where I am and move to see other people and travel and meet family and meet friends, right? And so I think it's interesting because like I think a lot of people, like you said, they will go the other way and they'll be like, okay, now I've got more responsibility, I've got more of this stuff, and it's like, you know what, like if I don't do it now, I'm never gonna do it, right? And 2, like I do have more responsibility, but more responsibility to me, equates to more drive, more desire to succeed, right? Like,
well, the extra stuff doesn't matter as much,
right?
And what people, man, you could, I could go down the biggest rabbit hole in the world with this because I study trends and financing and stuff. This gig economy, what Seth Godin talks about specialized skill work, like it's blowing my mind what's available out there on the market for you to just be yourself. Okay. And what I mean by that is like, you could have, 10 clients and you're managing their social media or you're making logos for them and work 2 days a week and you're good, depending on how your lifestyle is. That's never been more available. Like my business partner in one of my companies lost his job because his boss was just kind of not a good person, kind of skeezy, and he just couldn't take it anymore because he's changing. And he could go like, oh my God, what am I going to do? But he just started Ubering. And so what he's doing is he's Ubering during the day to pay it for what he was making. And he's listening to every real estate book, every personal development book. And he's like, I feel like I'm back in college. I've never been more happy because I control my schedule. And yeah, I don't want to Uber forever, but it allows me to learn and make money. And he's never been happier ever. And yeah, we have plans and we're going to open a construction company and all this stuff. But to see him happy, like to get back his life and not have to like work for somebody, man, it really is. There's no excuses anymore. I mean, really, there's no excuses anymore. And, you know, you could write for somebody. You could, I mean, there's just so many things. We're looking at getting into the ice machine business. So you put a freestanding ice machine that takes a credit card and you put it by a boat ramp and nobody's ever has to be there. You exchange the bags like once a month, like that right there. Like, you know, it's just, we really need to create the mindset where abundance is everywhere. We just have to be available for it.
I agree. Yeah. And I mean, TC's got a decent point, but I would add to this, like, it's not always getting off the couch. I think it's also getting out of that prison cell within your mind.
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, like I'm, you know, it's funny because you mentioned about, you know, doing these kind of like social tasks or social media or things like this, marketing. But like, I'm looking around the city that I live in, which is, you know, one of the biggest cities in the world, a bustling city. But like, I'm convinced that now there's never been a better time than now to actually open your own restaurant or open your own like small shop because of the impact of COVID. It's really sad to say that, but like it weeded out a lot of people who didn't have the drive in there, right? And like, I think back in North America as well, right? Like, there's probably never been a better time, you know, to go into business for yourself, whether it be landscaping or whether it be, you know, any of these things.
Jimmy, thank you. I love how these conversations, like I have said to 17 people this week, every one of my friends, now my circle, my network, my mentors, they're the healthiest they ever been. Their business has doubled, tripled. They're more connected with their family. They're opening more and more businesses. While everybody else is sitting there fixated on the news, complaining, everybody that I know is doubled down, tripled down. And you'll look back 10 years from now. One of my favorite sayings ever is you have no idea what giants are being built while everybody else is being quiet. Like but what it is it's growth mindset over fixed mindset. It's I'm gonna fail a little bit, and there has never been a better opportunity to get into business right now, because they're also this thing that they're not telling you. There's also more talent on the open market ever. So like if you look at my guys, I'm in a mastermind. They own a $500 million business. They're taking the best talent from everywhere because they got laid off they were a high-end nurse or they didn't want to take the vaccine. And so he's like, we're just getting the best of the best. And they've never been more happy to work with a good group of people. And he goes, you're going to look back 10 years from now and we're going to have the best staff. And they're doubling down, buying businesses. I mean, I agree with you. It's just an amazing opportunity right now.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting for sure. And I mean, I think in general, we tend to surround ourselves, well, people who are proactive tend to surround themselves with people that align with their views. Like I have a lot of friends from high school or even university that I used to hang out with every single day. You know, I'd like to see them again, but like the majority of them, like I don't really miss because I know that like our views aren't aligned anymore, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, like some of them might be, and I don't know, but like, you know, there's very few people that I reach out to. And I know that it'll be that way when I leave here or when I left here the last time, it was the same way, right? We tend to seek out what we need in that place and time. And sometimes we might even go past that. And that person might go past us, but it's that moment in time, that moment that we shared that we'll always cherish. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to share more moments like that in the future, right?
So they're part of your past, not your future.
Oh, they could be part of both, right?
They could be part of both, but one of the guys I followed just did a video on this yesterday. He said the problem with going back home for the holidays or going back to hang without old friends is they haven't seen the growth within inside you, so they speak to you as your old you, and so they speak your old beliefs into you. Like, perfect example. Do you know how hard it is as a recovering alcoholic who's lost 70 pounds to go see friends who haven't seen me in like 6 years, and they're like, who's this? Like, you're boring as fuck. Like, who's this guy? like who's the drunk fun? Like, and so like at the beginning, like that was really hard for me. Like that was really hard for me. But then I realized like that's their hang up. It's not my hang up.
Right.
And so that's something that you have to protect yourself with for sure.
Oh, even like family too. It's funny because like sometimes like my family will fall into that trap. Like they'll give me advice of things that I'm like, dude, realize that like I figured this out. Like, I think I'm the one who taught you this, right? Like, I think, right. But then again, like to be fair, my parents always said that I had the worst parts of both of them, which is kind of funny because like they're saying it as a compliment, but it's, you know, that's where I learned to give these backhanded compliments. By the way, for anyone out there in the audience who's seen me do this plenty of times.
Are you leaving? Are you leaving? Are you gonna move?
Yeah. So I don't. Let me get rid of this. So I'm leaving.
Okay.
On a road to somewhere. I know where the first stop is, and I don't know what's going to happen after that.
Where's the first stop?
Well, the first stop is back to Canada for sure.
Okay. What part of it?
I'm probably going to go west because I don't like the colds, but I have family in the east, so I'll spend some time there, obviously, because it's family, and you know, it's important, I think, for families to hang out. And yeah, so
what's the timetable on this?
Well, we'll know more after, you know, our son is born.
Well, this is great because I've never been to Canada. And my dream. So now I really have a reason to go. My dream is to spend a month in the Canadian Rockies, up in Banff. Yeah,
fair enough. I mean,
yeah. In a van, doing podcasts from there, just hiking every day.
I'm gonna edit this video out. I'm totally gonna edit. Like, I'm gonna edit the cast out there. Spend my time in the Rockies in a van doing pot.
dude, that's why I don't call myself a life coach, because that's what they think I do all day. Like, wear flip-flops and smoke weed. Yeah.
There's what are those old school memes that are like, what are those old school memes, like what I think my job is, and like, you know, what my mom thinks my job is, what, dude, you know, what my job really is.
I only told my dad yesterday what I what I made this year, and he was like, what? He's like, people pay you to do what? And my mom was like, she's like, I've been doing this shit for 30 years. Nobody's paid me for doing what you're doing. And I'm like, I know, Mom, it's a whole industry now. And she's like, oh, this is great, baby. Good job. Just keep on going, you know? And she just like thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. So it's just very interesting to explain to people what I do.
I mean, I stumbled into this, and I probably, maybe you did as well. Like,
100%.
It's interesting when you think about it, because there's like people who are trying to do what I do, everything, and like art, like, but, and I don't mean about the uplift. I don't mean about the like Yoshi drops. I don't mean about the writing. I mean about like just being live on camera on the YouTube, which is funny to me because like being a professional gamer or being a professional YouTuber has kind of replaced the sentiment of being like a professional basketball player, baseball player from when, you know, we were younger. And it's like, this is your way out. This is your way out of your hometown. This is your way out of the sticks. This is your way out of all of these places that you don't want to be. This is the easy life.
How did you get over the fact that, did it ever run through your mind when you got started that why would people listen to me?
I don't care if people listen to me.
I know, but like that's never been like you're just a different cat, but like that's never been like my theory is I think there's a lot of amazing people out there that aren't sharing their knowledge or their thoughts because they're worried about what somebody's going to say to them. or like a comment or something. And I think,
well, I mean, seclusion will do you wonders, right? Like picking up and leaving and spending, you know, 20 years, give or take, in a country where you don't really, like, you might speak the language, but you don't really communicate with the people on a higher level. And like, even when you do speak the language, it's such a mono culture here, in a way, in Japan especially, that depending upon what color you are will depend upon your experience being here. And if you're a white male, you get a lot of the benefits kind of given to you. Like you get people don't, they write you off as an excuse, right? Oh, he's just a drunk guy because he's a foreigner, right? Like, and they don't think anything of it, right? Yeah. So there's a negative side to it, but there's also a positive side to it, right? And so, like, my sister-in-law, she's from a different Asian country. Like, she's got the complete opposite. Like, she's smart as a whip. You know, she's a teacher, like high level, like science, high level math smart, like really smart. You know, like other schools are headhunting her and stuff. But like, just to go back to Canada or to come into Japan, it's like a month. Like, or more, a month easily, process of like almost meetings every day, like tracking down research. Because she's Asian, people just assume that she's going to come into the country. Because she's female, people assume that she's going to come into the country. She's A, going to do something nefarious, or B, she's just not going to leave because like she doesn't want to go back to her home country, which is nuts because she could live anywhere she wants in the world, right? So it's pretty interesting to me. Like, even for them to go back to Canada right now, it's like a major hassle, right? And so I think where I got to the point, though, back to your original question, was like, living in that society, A, and B, like just coming to the conclusion that like I only really want to hang out with you know, people that I want to hang out with. I only really want to surround myself with people that I want to surround myself with. Like there's a few people that like I know in my daily life. Like, I work at a school that has people from 60 different nationalities, 1 day a week. It's an amazing program. We've got like kids who lived overseas. They come. Like, I'm a librarian, by the way.
No, the fuck you aren't. Are you serious? You're the librarian.
Like, I'm one of 4 or 5 different library teachers. God. And like, it's like me of all people, right? I mean, but like, we have a very small library, and we do like activities with the kids and reading and writing and just chill out, right? But like, the majority of people, like, they've never seen me online. They've never seen me live. Like, they don't know about this aspect of my life because like there's no reason for me to tell them, right? It's like you meet somebody at a bar, or you know, you go out and you meet somebody at a bar and you're having a drink and you're like, oh, hi, what's your name? Like, my name's Jimmy. Nice to meet you. Like, here's a picture of my kid. 9 times out of 10, they don't give a shit, right? They're not going to care, right? And so I think a lot of people in the world, they interact with people on the basis that they do. And so for me, it's like, I wouldn't talk to these people because I might feel like, you know, they might not accept what I have to say. But here online, people have a choice on whether to tune in or not, right? So it's a different kind of scenario. If somebody's reading something that I wrote, they have a choice whether to stay there and like it, or whether to dislike it, or whether to just leave. So I think there's a big lack of pressure, where if, like, your situation, I think, is probably a little more difficult because you're standing up in a room full of real people. When somebody gets pissed off and they stand up and they walk out of the room, you could see it. It impacts you, right? Like, I see a number go up or a number go down on the top corner of the screen. It's not
the same. And one of the issues is that my need to help people, right, not go through the same addiction, homelessness, divorce, losing money in business is my need to shake them and say, like, hey, you don't have to do this. Like, I know, like, you may not want to listen to me, but like, just trust me. I've done all the bad things. And then they don't, right? And then they continue to go down the down path. And you have to get to a point where you're just like, dude, be yourself. Stop fucking, holding childhood traumas against your, your adult life, and fucking look at yourself in the mirror and wake up. But guess what? 9 times out of 10, they don't do that. And then when they do come to you, they've hit a brick wall, and it's hard, right? Like a friend quoted me the other day. He said, the problem is there's a lifeboat, and you got 100 people swimming at you, and you only have room for 10. What are you going to do? And I try to treat everybody with the same amount of respect. And if you show up and do the work, it's great. And it's like, I've never understood people caring what other people think. Like, and as I get older, that part of me I think it dies off even more every day, because now 9 times out of 10, I'm saying something to get them riled up because I know they're an easy target. And I almost find it like fun, because I'm hoping that if I get them riled up, they might see how ridiculous they're behaving, and it's like, there's even times, and I learned this from a book, where I misspell stuff on purpose just to see the grammar police come out.
Hey, do you work for the Uplift, by the way? Because
no.
Everything in the Uplift is misspelled. Half of the worlds are because of misspellings on our website.
Who's doing that?
Everyone. Like, Corey's done it, I've done it, Dennis has done it. Like, we've all done it. Like, there was, I think, I forget who did which one.
Do you get a lot of comments about it? Like, hey, that's misspelled. Is there like somebody coming out and like?
No, I think like people are expecting it now. Like, they're like totally, yeah. Like, I mean, London, for example. It was a script. We were writing random land, and somebody wrote London, and so London became a world, because like it's too good not to become a world, right?
Well, it's interesting, right? Because this is interesting. Writing was a sacred form of a thing, and now that more people are per se writers or content creators, they're not as the most polished, right? Like, sometimes I'll listen to my rants on my podcast, and I'm like, God, that's a lot of F-bombs in like a 10-minute span. and like something about me wants to like take it down a notch, but then something about me thinks it's kind of poetic that I'm just being myself. So, it's I don't know, man, but the more, I tell you what, the more and more I dive into the space, the more and more I meet people, I find it so intriguing, this community, right? Like, and what maybe I'm off base and I haven't spent enough time in here. It just feels like to me that they're focused on the right things.
I agree.
Like they're not getting focused on the little drama bullshit. It's like,
yeah, we do have our share of drama, but I think what it is it's the gratitudes. I think that this world, and M. Blue summed it up really well. Like, this world could potentially be replicated by anyone, but nobody's going to be able to replicate that foundational story of Corey and his friends in world putting up, gratitude monuments, and then that being carried over into the show. Nobody's going to be able to, like, for example, this is the Mall Gallery. We just had an open server event. This guy, is amazing. He's one of, I think, 12 different gallery owners in the Genesis server. They created this portal loop. TC's in the comments. He's one of them. A bunch of other people as well. And this guy, he went to like all of these places, social media hubs, and he found Star Wars fan art, and he decided to put up a gallery of Star Wars fan art in the Uplift. And like, it's just amazing, like what he came up with and what he put together, and he built all of this himself. And this is in Minecraft, which is ridiculous. Number one, because Minecraft is basically, it's Lego blocks, and TC is in the comments, like Matt's in the comments. All these people have been in here building their own things, right? Me over here trying to feature them on the.
Do you think it's a case? Do you think it's a case of where? I think that the society is disenfranchised because they don't feel like they have something to say, or nobody gives a shit about what they say. But in this world, we're taking you as you are, and then you get to add to what we're building as a community and as a whole. We're adding, right? That feels to me the difference. Like where like at your job, your boss doesn't give a fuck what you have to say. He just wants you to do your job. But like here, it's like, I'm just going to go be me, completely raw, completely everything, and just allow myself to like contribute. And together we've teamed up and we've built this amazing
Sorry, I totally cut you off
No, you're
there.
fine. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
No,
But
it's
yeah,
cool.
even on here, like to your point, like I am grateful for it. This is a picture in the uplift world of somebody, you know, the mountain biker, the YouTuber. He put this up, right? And like it's just really interesting. You know, I'm not a big fan of reality TV shows, but I would pay a lot of money for someone to put a chip in your head so that you understood Japanese, and then like dropping you into a Japanese corporate environment for like a week, because I think this would be interesting AF. And like a person as free willed as you, and then like dropping them into that corporate environment where like not only is it a corporate environment, but it's like a corporate environment on steroids, where like there's some of the biggest social problems in the world existent today.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't last. I wouldn't last 2 seconds.
Oh, you like, yeah, but it's not about the fact that you wouldn't last. It's just I would love to like have your perspective on this, and it's so ingrained into the
okay,
it's so ingrained into the
so my girlfriend
of this society as well, right? So.
My girlfriend keeps talking about this. She thinks that traditions are stupid, and she thinks that it creates a space where somebody they're not themselves. They're just saying, oh, this is the way we've always done it. And that seems to be like the Japanese corporate society. It's like, oh, this is just the way we've always done it. Yeah, that doesn't mean that it's right.
And that's a really good point, actually. And a lot of times, going back to what I was saying earlier, what happens is that we get to this point where we question things that they I am trapped. We questioned it's like being in Japan. I can't get out. It's seriously like we call it the golden prison. Gratitude then. Right. Because of right. That's interesting. Okay. I'm in a glass maze with a chicken. It's interesting. So I forgot where I was here. I thought I was going to drop somewhere else. But yeah, I've been encased in a glass maze with a chicken. It's fun.
This looks like my mind. I don't like that.
The glass maze part?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. There we go. And
yeah, but you know, it's interesting, right? Because everybody asks me, like, you know, what's your hope for me as a client, or what's your hope for me in business? My hope for you is that you fucking smile a little bit, you laugh, you do shit with cool people. I got this new series I'm doing. I think I'm gonna turn it into a book. I haven't decided yet, where it's like advice to my 20-year-old self. And like, man, it sounds so easy to give that advice now, but it's like, if I would have had these tools, man, I tell you what, dude, I'd be flying. Like, it's like, I just want to do cool shit with cool people, and I want to be the best version of myself. So,
right.
There's nothing more than that. Like, nothing more than that. Like, life, the currency that exists in the world these days is nothing more than experiences. That's the new currency. The rest of the shit doesn't matter. I don't need the fancy car. I don't need the big houses. I don't need all that shit. It's experiences. What can we do that's cool as fuck? You know, and like for my 40th, which is a year and a month away, like I want to just have a great weekend of just like amazing experiences with like great people, having amazing conversation. And, you know, and that's means more to me than any house I'll buy or any car I'll buy. Like it's all relative. Like, and that's okay. Like,
you like fishing?
You know what? This fishing keeps coming up in my world all of a sudden. You know, I used to as a kid. My cousin was there's nobody that cared about fishing more than my cousin. And so we used to go fishing all the time on my land. And then when we went on vacation, I do like it. I tell you what I like. And there's really nothing more that I enjoy. I love water. Like if I'm near water, I'm good. Like I love being on the water, boats, rivers, Like that's my thing. And so my thing is that there's something that water does to me that I can't describe. It just makes me feel good. And so like everybody's like, you shouldn't buy a boat like that. Everybody tells you don't buy a boat. And I agree with you. It's not a logical choice, but I don't care because that's all I want to do is just get on my boat every morning and ride and stuff like that. And so, for your thing, what I am grateful for is the opportunity to get 1% better every day. I agree with it takes living and learning to gain wisdom. I couldn't agree more. That's why I'm an easy coach, because I'm not working out of a book. I'm teaching life. So it's really easy for me to coach people. What do you think? What are you grateful for today, sir?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to put it on the board, but I'm, going to check it later. That'll be my second gratitude. I'm grateful I spelled opportunity right.
Yes. Sorry about that.
No, the reason I asked you if you like fishing is because I'm on the maple glazed jerky plot, which is a plot that I hang out with Morton actually, and the Nasty Hooks. They're like a comedy duo that are doing some cool things, and they built this little shack here on a swamp, and I don't know what it is, but it just reminds me of a fishing hut. So I decided that I would put gratitudes here today out of the middle of nowhere, and yeah, I wanted to do it somewhere that spoke to you. So Jimmy D, Jimmy D's grateful for insightful, collaborative, learning. With Austin Linney and an arrow so that we know who Al is. There we go. Yeah, because I like these episodes with you. It's really cool.
No, I do. And I know after Thanksgiving, maybe like right after the holidays, I want to get you on my podcast.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. So, and by the way, I got a message from Corey, and Corey said to pass on his love for you. Actually, Corey said, tell him I love him. But, as the writer, I wanted to, throw a little bit of twist in that. So I'm passing on Corey's love for you there, Austin. And
dude, I appreciate it, man. I'm really excited because I can't wait to jump on next month because I really want to talk to Corey about this short-term rental fund that we're making, because my goal is we're going to treat it like you actually get to enjoy the properties as well too. So we're looking at hotels and stuff. And so I really think this is going to be a cool opportunity where we could do some uplift events at the Airbnbs and host masterminds and stuff. So I think there's going to be a lot of like synergy. So I'm super excited about kind of the opportunity to kind of explore this stuff. And I'm about to do my second NFT show in about a couple minutes. So, we're going to see where that conversation goes. But yeah, I mean, I'm not putting too much pressure on myself to understand everything. I'm just trying to have conversations. And I think through having conversations, I'll understand more and more.
I mean, yeah, that's what I love doing about the show is you just let it go where it goes. And I mean, most of the time I don't make a fool of myself. So I'm pretty happy about that. Right. But yeah, like it's an interesting concept, right? Like my, a friend of mine, they used to have this buy-in plan where they bought, it's basically like a golf membership in a way. And then there was a small renewal fee, like a Costco membership every year. And basically they got major discounts on like, I don't know, hundreds of different hotel, resorts across the country that they were able to like utilize or capitalize upon a certain number of days every year. right? And so like it was really interesting because it was like owning a timeshare, except it was like a piece of a timeshare that had hundreds of locations.
Well,
right?
that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah,
yeah,
that's exactly what we're doing. Super, super pumped about that.
so,
well, my brother, I wish you the greatest week, and I'll see you next month. It's so great to chat with you as always.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I mean,
Yes,
and
sir.
even if you can't do it, like anything that you want to do, I mean, you're in the mountains. Teach yourself how to fish with a bow and arrow and a turkey. That'll be fun.
It's 50 degrees. Well, it's actually like 20 here right now, but during the days it's like 50. So my goal is to try to get in some golf tomorrow. So we'll see. Nice. But the hotel's full. We're making some money. So the boss man is happy. My mentor. So life's good right now.
Don't ever invite me to your hotel and tell me it's full, because like I'll probably do something like, you know, start swinging golf balls at the hotel.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
The funny story, my grandma used to live in a trailer, and she used to get so angry at me because I had a hell of a slice. So every fifth shot I would hit her trailer, and she was sleeping in the trailer. Anyway, Austin, thank you. Enjoy your next show, and happy and cheers to you all.
Yes, sir.
On this wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you.